Hi, welcome to this special episode of Industry Voice. Today I have Dan Kitajima. How are you, Dan?
Good. Hey, how's it going, Jeff?
Did I get your last name correct?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So Dan and I have known each other for quite a while now, and at one point I was his first 10 guest on his podcast when he first launched his podcast. And then now I get to grab you back and bring you on to my show. So I appreciate you coming on.
No, yeah, thanks for having me. That first episode that we did long time ago, that one got a lot of listens. So you really kind of, and then it was like, my podcast is brand new too. So you really helped me kickstart that. And a lot of agents got value out of that from, what you know. And I really appreciated that. So anytime, yeah, I'm happy to be on yours and see if I could do what you did for me. I doubt it, but yeah, back then you were talking about how you're writing like $10 million a year and stuff, and that was kind of like a lot of people haven't heard those numbers before. So it was a really eye opener and really inspirational. So I really appreciate that. I still remember that conversation really well.
Man, now you make me want to go back and listen to it. But let's stay on track. Let's talk about Dan for a second. I'm gonna turn the mic over to you. Just give our audience like a background of who Dan is and your growth into insurance. And then we shift it over to your podcast. But let's talk about your insurance growth and your insurance agency for a second.
Yeah, sure. So I was born and raised in Southern California, and I started. Well, just to take it back, I was first selling sneakers at a sporting goods store, and that sneaker store had a commission-based comp plan. So I was like, "Hey, this is cool. I'm going to college at Long Beach State, and I could sell shoes and make commissions. And even though I'm working part-time, I could still make enough to buy the new pair of Jordan when it first comes out." So I kind of understood the value or the potential of being in sales. So right when I graduated from college, I knew I wanted to get a sales job. Like I just knew for sure. I just want to make sure I don't have a base. I just want a sales job. And AAA just so happened they had a job fair at my college campus. And at that time, I had AAA. Well, my parents had AAA, and we had AAA for years back then. And when I was in college, I told them my Civic, and I told you it was totally my fault. And then AAA came to my house and dropped me off a check, and they took care of me really well. And with that check, I was able to save up a little extra money from working at the sneaker shop, and then I was able to get myself a Accord. So I already knew, like, hey, like insurance is necessary. It really helps people out. So I had a good, experience with insurance. So when AAA was at the job fair and they just specifically were looking for sales agents, at that time they were really revamping their whole system. They just had agents that weren't on commission, so they were changing everything around and really building up their sales team. And you could get hired very easily. So I got hired there, and they trained me for 3 months. They got me licensed. It was pretty extensive training too. And basically, the setup was a call center. So it was a call center, and we were incoming calls, and we just had to sell them. And I was there for 3 years. There was about 200 agents there, and I was, by year number two, I was one of the top agents, and I was doing great for a young, kid in his early 20s, making six figures, and things were going great. I just really liked insurance sales, and after 3 years, things didn't work out the way I wanted to, I guess you could say. Maybe it was a learning experience there at that time of understanding ego and humility and how you could be replaceable. Like I was the top agent there, so I felt like I wasn't acting professional, and it's just a lesson learned there. And things didn't work out, so I was without a job. And then I said, hey, you know what? I know how to sell insurance, so how hard could it be? Let me just start my own agency. So at that time, Farmers Insurance was recruiting, and I became an agent. I didn't have to go anywhere to get trained, or I didn't have to work for anybody under. I felt like, again, maybe it was an ego thing, but that's a lesson I learned. So I want to be as humble as possible now. But back then, I wasn't. I said, hey, I could do this. And I started my Farmers Insurance agency in Costa Mesa in 2007. And 17 years later, I'm a Farmers Insurance agent still, and it's been great. I had a lot of ups and downs. I'm in California, so the last couple of years have been really tough, but learned a lot and built the agency here. We're in Orange, California, and yeah, I'm just happy. I'm still feel like I'm just getting started, and my aspirations aren't anywhere close to being reached. So I have a lot of dreams in this business, and I feel like it's exciting time to be in the business, especially talking to people like you, Jeff, and all the smart people. The best part about being in this business is just really the people you get to meet, and you're definitely one of them that I've learned a lot from.
I appreciate that. But we're gonna talk about numbers real quick because you love talk about numbers on Facebook. So we're gonna dive into it here on the podcast. What's your growth? Like if you think about like this, right? And I've been through this, we grow from my first team was two people. It was me and two people who were close to me who were like willing to take their career chances with me. And then the next phase was like 8 people, and the next phase was like 20. And as I continued to grow over the years, what were those phases like that you felt I got here? Because now you have a big team. Now you have a big team and you guys are producing pretty high numbers every single month. What were some of those timelines that you're like, okay, this is my growth timeline that you can remember? Thank you for all your support to our channel. Here is a quick word from our sponsor. Please click on the link below in the comment section to sign up for a demo with Traq AI.
What if your insurance sales conversations could work harder for you? Meet Traq, your AI-powered conversation intelligence partner. Traq automatically captures and analyzes every customer interaction, providing instant call summaries, risk analysis, and AI-driven coaching insights. Say goodbye to manual note-taking and hello to more selling time. Traq handles the admin work while you handle the revenue. Fully integrated with your favorite platforms. Plus, get custom AI analysis tailored to your unique business needs. Transform your sales team's performance with Traq. Visit traq.ai today.
Click the link in the description below to schedule a demo with Traq today.
Well, as far as team size goes, yeah, I just started off with one person from AAA that she got fired, so I just said, hey, you could work with me, and it started with two people. And then I was working at a district office, and all we had was a conference room. We had to like get out of the conference room if they had to use it. So we were just borrowing space there, operating rent free. And then I went to a 750 square feet. I was renting an office from another agency owner. So in about a year and a half, I got an office in Tustin, Old Town Tustin. That was about 2,000 square feet. So I went from having no office to 2,000 square feet. And I went from two to like 6 people. And then I was there for a good time because 2017 came up. And that was really when I said, hey, you know what? I have 6 employees and the 2,000 square feet office was big enough, so it was fine. But I said, I don't know if it was like the books I was reading at the time or the content I was watching at the time. I started thinking I have to think bigger. So in 2017, I got this office, not this office space, but the same building. It went up to like it was like 3,500 square feet. And that holded about 13 people. And at that time, it was a $10,000 a month for rent, and I was paying only 2,000. But this is a Class A building. The other place was really like run down, and just the AC would go out, and there's ants everywhere, and it was just not a good neighborhood too with the homeless people. And I just said, you know what? I'm just gonna get this office here and see what happens. And from there on out, I think the office being a better look really helped me with recruiting. And what really helped me just stretch my mind, like, well, I didn't even know how to market at that time, like I was just still buying leads. And once I moved there, it really stretched my imagination to like, I gotta provide more marketing for my staff members. So I think that was a pivotal moment in my career there. And it took me 12 years, so 2019. So 2 years after that, I finally made, revenue wise, $1 million on my agency. So it took me 12 years. I don't know why when I first started, I was like, I want to have a business that that sells, at least in sales, $1 million a year. And then once I reached that, then the second year I did 2 million. And then from there on, it just got faster. So the first 12 years to get to the first million was really tough. And then now, 3, 4, 5 million, it has really been a lot faster. So I would say the first million was the hardest. Getting to 20 employee was pretty difficult. But after that, I feel like there's momentum. You get a lot of referrals. And right now, yeah, we have, as far as agents goes, 22 agents. We have customer service, we have management, we have marketers and things like that. But the licensed agent count is at 22. And yeah, it's has some tough years the last couple of years, But I will say that was the trajectory. The first 12 years was really difficult. Not difficult, but it just didn't grow as fast. But then I feel like it took me 6 years to write 100K a month. It took me a long time to write 100K a month. And then now it's like, well, when we hit 700K, now it's like only took us a month to get to 700 to 800. It took me us like another 2 years to have like a 200K month. So I would say there was definitely momentum building that's necessary in this business. At least for me, I didn't get off to a great start. So that is some of the trajectory I could show you where it took a long time to get to one level, but once we hit a level, then the momentum really helps build it up a lot faster.
What do you think was that moment when it happened for you that got you over the hump versus like knowing versus actually doing? What do you think changed?
I think I just have to go back to when I was like, hey, like, what am I gonna do with this office space? I kind of signed this lease for 5 years. I had to pay $10,000 every year. And then after that, by the way, I moved to this office here, 6,000 square feet here a couple years ago. So the rent actually doubled. But I think putting myself in this uncomfortable situation, and the thing that really changed for me, at least the most, is the marketing. The marketing, once I said, hey, I have this office space, I have to have producers, they have to sell policies. How can I have them sell policies? Then the biggest constraint was, how could I feed them people to talk to? Because when I was at AAA, it was a call center and we were getting incoming calls. It was great. Like, you sell policy, right after you hang up, you get another call, you sell policy. I was like, how can I replicate that call center environment? But the leads is the number one problem. I mean, everything else is hard too, but the first problem that we all have as agency owners is the lead flow. So once I figured that puzzle out, I think that was the moment when everything else, still not easy to train people, recruit people to, have them believe in your core principles and compliance and just customer service and everything. There's just a lot of management. There's a lot of things after that, but if we don't have the marketing piece figured out, then I don't think I think that was when everything kind of helped me expand to different roles and expand the agency.
Who does the training?
Right now we have a sales manager. So she does the role plays, she does the call reviews, she sends out the best. So that's pretty much our biggest constraint now because just recently I was thinking like, oh man, I just need to get more leads. I just need to get more leads. But our closing ratio, like some person would be at 8%, some person would be at like 30%. And I was like, hey, how come we're not selling more? And I always just kept on just getting leads. Getting leads was my answer. But one of my staff members was like, "Hey, have you listened to some of our calls?" I was like, we didn't have a formal sales training program for 16 years. So last year we just started implementing just a script. We're listening to calls now, role playing, and then we're doing call reviews. So we have a sales manager that's like her sole job.
So what do you think changed on the process side when you go
Oh
from
my
2
God.
to 10 to 22? What do you think was the biggest aha moment?
I think that was really when I had a dinner with you at Daniel's house. That was one of the aha moments of my agency.
So shout out to Daniel Song and
Yeah.
Daniel and his wife, best cook, man. Amazing food. That was a fun night. We got to just chill and chat, and him and his family is amazing.
Yeah, and you put it together. You visited and you put some of the smartest people's in the business in that room, and I was just happy to be there. But basically, automation, lead management, those are things that, man, at that point, I was just using like spreadsheets,
Yeah.
so that was a huge game changer, and I use a lot of my time working on that stuff because I feel like that's one of the best use of time. I get the most leverage of that time, the most return of that time was spent on that type of stuff than anything else. And really, all the sales training and everything like that, everything is organized through and data and all that stuff is just that's really where another aha moment or a game changing moment in my career.
What tech system do you use now?
I use Infusionsoft still.
Okay.
hmm
Did you build it all yourself, or you had someone help you build it?
I have a partner, yeah, Infusionsoft key partner. We meet
Nice.
once a week, and I've gotten pretty decent at going in there myself and creating campaigns and stuff like that. But I always have somebody I could always ask questions to, and yeah, that's been huge. So thank you for inviting me to that dinner.
Are they voice over IP too, or just CRM front end?
Voice over internet is through a different carrier. Yeah.
Okay.
But I also use Turbo Dialer for the outbound stuff.
Okay. Got it. Interesting. Let's talk about what you just said earlier. Go from 700,000 to 800,000, right? We should go this year, 2024. We got, as of recording, November 2024. What do you want to end the year at, and where you at now?
Premium sold, you mean?
Yeah.
I think I'm at close to 7 million. So we
Nice.
want to get to, I guess we can't get to 10 million. That is one of our
Is that
goals.
6-month premium so, or are you also calculating annualizing it?
They're mostly 6 months premiums.
Okay, so if you're calculating annualizing it, it's way over already.
Yeah, I should give myself credit. Yeah, California, we do mostly auto, and most of it is 6 months auto. I mean, we write some homes, but and commercial and stuff like that. It's mostly 6 months policies.
You should analyze it. That's how you
Yeah.
look at everything. I mean, when you buy and book a business, you are talking about, hey, I
Mhm.
just bought a $3 million book or a $10 million book or $15 million book, right?
Mhm.
So what's the difference when you talk about acquiring business organically? At the end of the day, it's acquisition to your PIF, to your revenues. So if you, let's just say if you have 7 million, you probably end the year around 8, I'm assuming, right? At 8
8.5.
million, let's just say 85, would you say 85% auto?
Like 80.
80.
Yeah.
So 80% auto, so that's 6.4 million auto and 1.6 million in homes and renter, right? So you annualize the auto, 6.4, so that's about 12.8 million auto plus 1.6, so close to 15.
Yeah, you're making me feel better about our year here. Yeah, but that's so true because when we look at like, hey, how big is your book? It's always annualized premium, right?
I mean, that's it. And when you're CPA doing your taxes, you're paying government on your annualized premiums. You don't pay your government 6-month premiums. So same thing when you acquire a book, right? You're acquiring even though you acquire a bunch of 6-month policy, but you're acquiring, a book of business at 12 month.
Yeah, and then California insurance premiums are getting higher and higher. Next year it's going to even go up again. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to be an opportunity for us to really just right now we're doing a lot of recruiting, but yeah, sales
You gotta
training.
think like all your leads that you spend, you need to look at return on lifetime value. And every single lead in that plays into your retention, into your how many years stays on the book, but it's all about lifetime value of everything you acquire. But let's keep on going for a second. I feel like I came from the world of Allstate, and when I got in like 2011, Facebook just become a thing. And before, people would meet each other at national events once a year or regional event. And when Facebook group popped up, we were all like sharing ideas, doing screenshot of our monthly agency Zoom. Like these things really brought agents closer together. And I feel like farmers seeing some of that stuff as well with like hyper scale of growth with some of the new scratch agent top hitters and the mega agent that you and I were just talking about off the call with Josiah Harley. Shout out to our friend Josiah Harley putting the mega agent together in farmers. Who do you think have influence over Dan? I mean, Dan, you influence a lot of people's life. By the way, I just want to give your cookies because a lot of agents I talk to who are in farmers world, they know you, they watch your Facebook post, they see you talk about your numbers, your performance, and it's a motivational factor for them. Who motivated you, whether it's local mentor or someone came along the journey? Anybody you can remember?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many people. I think one of the things with me is that I'm naturally an introvert, so I never really like was good at reaching out to people. And some of the early years, like it took me 12 years to make it to the President's Council, which is like the top, farmers achievement group, because there was so much different other criterias rather than just personalized that to me to get there, and wasn't that well rounded really early. A lot of the mentorships that I've gained and that really changed my career was outside of the industry, and it was just through YouTube and like reading books. So like Grant Cardone or Gary Vaynerchuk, or right now like Alex Hormozy, and those are and just reading books. So that's just kind of what happened with me, and even though there's a ton of agents out there that I could mention their names too, they impacted me more watching their content than actual knowing an agent that did big things because in it, I think in the All-State world, there's actually you guys really just many of you guys have built super amazing agencies and built super amazing businesses. I don't know what it is. Maybe you guys think bigger, but with farmers, there hasn't been one person before me that I started that was public or had content or like I was able to like, even the leaderboard wasn't like that big of a thing back when I first started. Like we didn't even know who was writing a lot. So when I started reading books and watching YouTube videos of those types of people, that's really when my career really took off. Well, not took off, I mean, compared to them, but it really made an impact on my career.
A big deal. Like you gotta have a community. And when I first started building my community, I was really quiet too. Not, I mean, you see me loud before online, but I'm introvert myself. And if I'm in a big room of people, I'm the quietest one. And I watch and I listen, trying to figure out who do I want to learn from because there's so many smart people out there. So go to the President Council for a second.
Mhm.
What is that like at Farmers?
Oh, it's great. They treat us great. I mean, last one was the Bahamas, and we just, I mean, like 4 or 5 days, and they just treat you like loyalty. There's a few meetings, which is great because it's top leadership talking about their plans and things like that. Very transparent as far as some of the years hasn't been that great news and discussions, and they take their feedback and they actually ask us like what we how we feel. So it's definitely something that all agents should strive for, and it's a great experience. And just knowing other agents, that's really a lot of times when I just like meet with agents and I asked them to come on my podcast so that way I can learn from them. So even though other agents can learn from him, but I selfishly want to learn from them myself. So I invite people, and then that's just a great way to just get to know other agents all over the country and see what's working for them.
If you have to, you had a lot of guests on your podcast, but if you had to talk about three or two, who do you think was somebody you had on your podcast and on the podcast, it just made you like, aha, like had a click?
Oh man, now you're
I
gonna make
know,
me
putting you under
name some
pressure.
names. You want some names? It sounds like. Wow. With the most views, Josiah Hartley, just mentioned him. He has the most views, and yeah, that one was great. He was up and coming agent, but there's so many good ones. It's hard, and then yours is
What
also great
what
too.
what did you learn from Josiah, like on the podcast? I'm curious to hear your feedback on it. Because like
I
you have two hat, right? One is that you're
Mhm.
trying to learn as an agent, and the other hat is like you're hosting a podcast as a host, and you have a guest on, and you have to create that content.
Yeah, which is really easy for me because really all the questions I'm asking is for myself, but his was automation, recruiting, and just getting off to such a great hot start and early in your career. I think that there had to be some system behind it. I do like talking about systems. You know, I think yours is great too because it's just sharing numbers and the numbers that you were putting up before, just the possibility. That's great. Jeremy Olson was a great one too. I had some questions about like just leadership, how to like manage managers because I never had managers before. I was a manager and there's no other managers. So understanding how when you get to a bigger team, like how to train managers, like that was something new to me. So that was great. Richard Salinas was a great one because that was a time when I needed to sell more life insurance, and he was a life insurance agent of the year. So he helped me understand how he does this process, and that's something that many agents have replicated, but other agents have said that from watching my video and his step by step or his detailed process of his system of how to sell life insurance has helped so many agents, including me. There's a lot of good life insurance ones, like Daniela Soto. She helped me with life insurance too. Candice Salcedo. There was a time. There's some entertaining ones like Andy Zulaga. He's a good friend of mine. That was a fun one too. Mikey Ruiz. And the super inspirational one was David Sewell, Farmers Hall of Fame one. He's been uh, he just how much fire he has for how long he's been in the business. That's something that was inspirational to me because I hope I always have that fire in me too. Like I do definitely right now.
How long was he in the business?
Well, he's still in the business, but to be in the Farmers Hall of Fame, you have to be a President's Council member for 25 years, and I think he's done it over like
Wow,
30 years. Yeah,
that's a long time.
yeah. But he still like came on to the podcast and he was just telling me about his day and how fired up he is, just his passion. And he just I asked him one question, he just he just went and he just told us how excited he is about the business. And he's in Houston, Texas, so there's a lot of challenges there, and it's just the mindset there was great. The mindset of all the ups and downs you see, but just how important it is to have a positive attitude and have enthusiasm in what we do. That's something I really took from that one.
I could say the same thing about you. You keep on striving for that success. I watch all your Facebook posts. I don't comment on it as much, but I watch all of it. And getting up in the morning, hit that gym, go home at like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Yeah, I watch all of it.
Oh,
So
thank you.
as many years you've been doing this, still have the fire. So that's pretty cool.
What about you? What are some things that you've enjoyed with the content with the other insurance agents putting out? Or you've had a lot of conversations too. What are the types of ones that you like?
As of this recording, there's probably 70 plus. There's some really, really impressive people that just does a really bad job of selling themselves or storytell. Storytell is an art. And there's some people that don't do enough podcasts and they get super nervous and they go super fast. Man, that's a tough one. Who was my favorite? Daniel Sounds probably one of my favorite. He did a couple episodes with me on different shows. Life is hard. He loved to be vulnerable. He's open to questions. And I just dropped his episode. And there was one part I almost broke character. So like the guest is talking. I'm sitting here putting up a smile. And this one thing he talked about how hard life got, and he will almost cash out his life insurance. Not like borrow against it, but other cash out. And I know him for a long time, and I didn't know that part of the story until I heard it on the podcast I'm interviewing him on. And taking the easy way out was something that came across his thought. So yeah, and he fought through it, right? So that was probably one of my favorite episodes, and just happened to be the first episode that I did, stepping onto this side of the mic and hosting podcast. But I have interviewed so many smart people lately, venture capital guys, private equity guys, the guy do valuations, mergers. I mean, there's just so many brain in this community, right? So, and I think there's not as many people who do storytelling, but as we do more storytelling and creator media grow bigger in the insurance world, we're going to hear more stories and more collaborations and more panel speakings. So hopefully I get to meet more people. If I just have to answer your question right now, and I'm rambling on with it now. If I had to just answer one, Daniel Song, because he overcame, and I love underdog story. So
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Yeah, he's got an agency and a family to be super proud of. So yeah, we all go through challenges, and those are the best ones where we learn from how to overcome them.
yeah. I have to shift and ask a Jordan question. So everybody know you love shoes. Is all your collection Jordans?
Most of it, yeah. I mean, I have some, yeah, and most of it is I like Jordans that he actually wore, like the original colorways. Not like the. I mean, some of the new stuff is cool too. All the Kobe's that I've had, I've always worn them to play basketball in, so I didn't keep them in good shape. So I think there's something about Air Jordans, especially the OG retro ones. Those are the ones. Those are the ones I like to get.
What's the Kobe one? The Grinch? Is that Kobe 6?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, those are cool. I love Jordans, but the Kobe's, they look good too. So next year, now that this year you're trending close to 15 million, I wonder if you do the math after our podcast is over, where you are exactly in terms of annualized premiums.
No,
And
I will.
And then how far you are away from 15 million, and then that could be tomorrow's sales meeting.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, we had a much better year than I thought so. And I like how you talked about lifetime value too. That's something that's really been on my mind right now. You
Yeah.
know, bec
Where do you think you rank among like the top players in the country at farmers?
not that high anymore, because farmers, if it doesn't qualify with farmers, they let us right outside. So some of the stuff is what's outside carriers. So if you only look at farmers numbers only, California is just in a situation where it just reopened right now.
Mhm.
So we're able, farmers is actually writing policies. So compared to other states where the Department of Insurance wasn't that strict and they allowed rate increases, there's some agents in like Texas and Michigan and Colorado that put up some huge numbers. So California, it was tough to be a farmer's insurance agent, but I'm super grateful that they do let us write elsewhere if it doesn't qualify with farmers. So as far as ranking goes, I mean, there was many years where I did write the most policies in the nation as far as policy count. But then even those years, there are some huge commercial agents too. You
You
know,
guys right outside of farmers. I mean, what carriers do you guys have access to?
Well, my contract, I could get a direct carrier. So in California, some of the carriers that's really up and coming for the non-standard
Mhm.
side is Aspire. That's a new company. They're in the top 10 now. National General, so these are the companies, that's the Allstate company actually, but these non-standard companies are actually pretty active in wanting us to write more policies. So they have really saved us because a lot of stuff doesn't qualify with farmers, and we could go there.
You know, a lot of people look down in the industry at non-standard carriers, but nobody really talk about the last 3 years. The only carrier that made money was the non-standard carriers.
Yeah, it's funny because like if you sell low limits, which is, again, kind of not what we're used to like talking about, but sometimes when the economy is tough and the cost of living is high in California, I think that the lower limits it gives the carriers less exposure.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you hit somebody, you hit someone's car, it's like, here's the money. Like, that's really it. It's like, sometimes I look at it like, I could be an insurance company, like, if that's the limits, you know?
So recently you guys had a mastermind event, right? How was that event like? You want to talk about that one?
Yeah, the mega conference, yeah, that was great. I got to present in it, and just thought, it's just great to be around other agents that are doing great things and different things. One of the things, it's just great, it just opens up your mind. Now, the tricky part is when you go to a mastermind event like that, you hear all these other ideas like HOA insurance, apartment building insurance, and like homes and like difficult place to write and just like different marketing tactics. And you're like, wow, I could do that. I could do this. I think the discipline there is to not get into trying to do something new right away. Because you get so many ideas. You're like, I could do that too. I could do that. And agents are like, I could show you how to do this. But then my takeaway from that one was like, if there's a cost to new. Like if I were to like change my marketing plan and have some of my producers do that one and stuff like that, there's so many ways to win in this business. I came back thinking like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, all these ideas I got. And this happens a lot of times when I go to conferences with like top agents. But I thought, you know what? I need to do what I'm doing better. There's so much stuff within like what I do already that I could get better at. Like the script could be a little bit better, like the automation could be a little bit better, like the report. There's so much things I could do. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna drop what I'm doing and chase like, the other things that could be higher premium or just but it's just like there's a learning curve there, I can't just be good at apartment building insurance. They've been doing that for 20 years, and that's a very lucrative business, and there's high competition there. You can't just be someone new and start like, learning how to market for apartment complexes and sell them and have all these carriers in case it doesn't qualify. It's just like there's so to be a really master, there's so many levels to the game that I got really tempted to like, okay, I want to do something new because it's working for them. But the takeaway for me was like, you know what? You can get to such a high level by focusing on a niche and getting really good at it. I'm already in a niche. I have to get better at my space, and I can get better and better there. I get a lot of motivation just hearing numbers and staff size and just what type of operation people are running because that's kind of what we need to hear. Like we're in our office and we think we're doing good or we think we're doing bad. Either way, it's just good to know that other people there that really understand you too. Like it's really hard to understand like what we go through unless you're in the same position or you've done it before. So just the camaraderie and then the respect that I have for the other agents there it's always a great to go to those things.
Yeah, you hit that on the head. Like to shut the noise off and then just say, hey, this worked for me, and I'm gonna go all in on this work for me versus try to dabble in everything else what all the other people are doing. That has worked out really well for me over the years.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear because I look at you as like a mentor because, like you said too, non-standard auto. People hear that and they kind of laugh at me like, "What you deal with that?" Like, there's so much like servicing. It's like people cancel all the time. It's like that's such a crappy business. Like, you must hate that. Like, just like it's like I don't know how I ended up in here, but I do write a lot of it. Do you know any like non-standard auto independent agency owners that you think they are doing good things or? Do you see anybody winning in that side of the business?
Yeah, we probably have to chat off roll,
Okay.
off the podcast because I can't drop people's names
You
without
like,
them knowing, right? Without them knowing.
yeah.
So
Okay.
this is fun. So you know what? I got a couple ideas for you, and let's chat off the podcast. And Dan, thanks for coming on. And hopefully 6 months from now or 9 months from now, I have you back on, and we can talk about how you guys hit 15 million in 2024, and 2025 you guys can shoot for 20.
All right. Yeah. No, thank you for setting the goals there, Jeff. It's just always great talking to you. And yeah, you just killed it on my podcast. So hopefully you could have you back for a round two.
All right. Thank you.